Hello, and thank you for joining the EAP Education channel, your home to learn about how to boost your academic skills to succeed in your studies. Whether you are a prospective student, a current student on a degree or a postgraduate program, or an international student who is going to a university in an English-speaking country, then I am sure you will find this channel useful. Firstly, we want to find out about what is EAP. What do we mean by English for academic purposes? Let's go through the learning outcomes for this session. We're going to understand what is meant by EAP and what is included in English for academic purposes, and also to be familiarized with the academic expectations as a university student. Where does the EAP come from? In reality, EAP is rather a new concept, and it has emerged from the broader field of English for specific purposes known as ESP. But what is the difference between EAP and General English? Lots of students have a very good General English knowledge, but they still struggle with writing essays at university. ESP is more focused and advanced compared to General English, meaning there is a clear objective to learn English here. But you use General English for everyday use, not for specific purposes. There are different types of ESP, including Business English, Medical English, Aviation English, and EAP. As you know, EAP is the English which is needed to study or conduct research. Why should we learn about EAP? The completion of a university-level assignment or essay will require a certain style and register of language. At university, you are assessed in different ways. This means that you could sit an exam, deliver a presentation, and submit a 2,000-word essay to be able to pass a single module. Therefore, whether you're a native or a non-native speaker, it's very important for you to get to know EAP and what is associated with EAP and what is expected from you as a student. Finally, with the increasing number of international students and the courses which are taught in English worldwide, EAP has a significant place in the higher education system. What is involved in EAP? When we talk about EAP, we actually refer to these areas: academic speaking, academic listening, academic reading, academic writing, and critical thinking. And also we have these areas like grammar, academic vocabulary, and punctuation as well to consider. That's all part of English for academic purposes. So let's explore these areas one by one. Let's start by talking about academic speaking. By academic speaking, we could refer to the language used in class contributions. This could be lectures, seminars, discussions that we have, or even in presentations. So all the spoken language used in academic settings. Also, to the ability to make arguments and counter-arguments, expand ideas. Again, that's a very important skill to have, especially in seminar discussions. Also to be able to ask questions and making comments and seeking clarifications. These are all the areas which we refer to as academic speaking. Now let's move on to the next idea, which is academic listening. Academic listening used in various academic contexts like lectures, seminars, tutorials, etc. And it is the ability to comprehend the content of a talk, a lecture, or presentation. But we listen for different purposes, like listening for the main idea or gist or specific details. So when you talk about academic listening, you have different purposes. Depending on the activity, you may apply a different approach. As a student, there are a range of strategies which you can use to improve your listening skills. Um, and at the same time, we use other skills like note-taking as well when we are listening to academic sources. So this is actually academic listening. Briefly, again, this will be discussed later in future sessions. Right, the next area we want to talk about is academic reading. First of all, let's clarify this that academic reading is different from reading for pleasure. We do not treat journal articles or academic books the same way we were reading novels or newspapers. When you're reading academic sources, you tend to be selective. You don't read everything. You just look at your assignment question maybe, and you think, okay, which parts of this book are relevant? Or the same, which section of the article are relevant to my topic? And just read those sections, which is completely different when you're reading a novel. You tend to start, the first page and continue right to the end to follow the storyline. So academic reading is an active process, and you do that to engage with the source using other skills like note-taking, linking the new ideas to your existing knowledge, and then think critically when reading. There are different ways to approach a text depending on your reading purpose. You could be skimming, you could be scanning the source, you could be reading for background knowledge, and you could be reading for writing. We actually have a separate session, academic reading. We'll explore all different types of reading, different purposes in detail. Let's move on to academic writing. Writing is the main method of communication in academic contexts. And that's actually puts academic writing as the most important skill to have at university. It is considered the most difficult academic skill as well, even among many native speakers. I've come across many native speakers actually who struggle to write essays or dissertations. So this is not about general English, as we said before. Academic English is quite different. Academic writing is a formal style of writing which follows certain rules and standards. What is involved in academic writing? There are a range of skills and features associated with academic writing. I've picked some of the most important ones, which will be explored later in my future videos. But let's look at the list now. Task engagement. This means that you, in your essay, you have to engage with your task from the start to the end. Anything that you include in your essay should be answering the question. Writing structured paragraphs. This is a very important feature of academic writing. We write in paragraphs, and paragraphs should be developed enough, they should be long enough to support the claim you're making in your essay. Using other sources and referencing. Academic writing is associated with using other sources as evidence. You tend to make a claim in your paragraph, and then you have to provide some supporting evidence for the claim you're making. How you do that? Use other sources. And that's the way you bring it. Using paraphrasing, summarizing, or direct quotation, you apply one of these three strategies to use other sources. Another feature of academic writing is using tentative or cautious language. We call it hedging. Hedging is about moderating your language. We'll have again another session on hedging as well. Cohesion and coherence are very important features of academic writing. Cohesion is all about the ideas to be connected, to be glued, and not to be actually, your paragraphs should be cohesive, your sentences should be connected. And coherence is about the logical relationship between your ideas, the way you present them. It should be reasonable and should be making sense. So these are some of the very important features of academic writing, which we'll be exploring in our upcoming videos. Next topic in EAP is critical thinking. But what is critical thinking? According to Burns and Sinfield, critical thinking is the art of making clear, reasoned judgments based on interpreting, understanding, applying, and synthesizing evidence gathered from observation, reading, and experimentation. You can see several concepts here, including interpretation, understanding, applying, and synthesizing. Whatever your discipline, you will engage with a wide range of variety of sources of information and evidence. And you will develop the skills to make judgments about this evidence, to form your own ideas and present your views clearly. And this is what happens to critical thinking. And unfortunately, one of the most common types of feedback received by students is that their work is too descriptive. How can we avoid it? When actually you refer to a work, an essay being too descriptive, this means that they have just stated what others have said. It means they have paraphrased, maybe they have summarized other sources, but they have not reflected critically on the material. They have not evaluated the evidence and constructed an argument. So that's actually critical thinking and importance of critical thinking in EAP. Our final topic is EAP grammar. EAP grammar helps to express yourself correctly and appropriately. As we said earlier, academic writing is associated with a certain style and register of language which is quite formal. Therefore, our choice of grammar should reflect the same level of formality as well. Sentence types. Writing long sentences to develop your arguments. In academic writing, we tend to use complex and compound sentences compared to short sentences. And the reason behind is the complex and compound sentences will give us the more space and room to develop our ideas. Punctuation. Simple as it sounds, many students struggle to punctuate their work correctly, and that will affect their final grade. Your essays will be marked using certain criteria, including task achievement, cohesion and coherence, using sources, referencing, as well as SPEG, spelling, punctuation, and grammar. So even punctuation could impact your final grade as well. And finally, your choice of vocabulary, which means you should be using both subject-specific vocabulary and academic vocabulary in your essays. Thank you for watching this video. This is the email address which you can get in touch with us. If you have any questions or comments about this video, please let us know. Also, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel and follow us for the upcoming videos that will be uploaded soon. Thank you.